I'll say it here in my report, but utilities.
We'll get going in. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Greg Hahn, Chairman of the Board of Indigo. And this is our March 20th, 2025 board meeting. It is 4 o'clock. And thank you all for coming. And at this point in time, we'll do a roll call for the board. Our Chief Legal Officer, Bob Fry, will call the roll.
Good afternoon, directors. Please indicate your attendance when I call your name. Director Stinson.
Here.
Director Fagan. Director Wilson. Director Gardner.
Present.
Chairman Hahn.
Present.
Board Director Quick indicated she was going to participate virtually, but I know as of the time I took my chair, I didn't see her on, but she is on now. Okay, thank you. Director Quick, are you present? Okay, well, she'll join us when she can, I presume, but even without her participation, we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. Next are awards and accommodations, and Jennifer Purz will present the awards and accommodations this month.
Good afternoon. Jennifer Pierce, President and CEO. All right, we start off every month with our safe drivers list. We've got a list here of those who are being recognized for safe driving for the month of February. They will receive a National Safety Council patch, pin, and certificate. I would like to highlight Anthony White from the list. If you don't mind going to the next slide. Anthony has been working with us for 28 years and just passed the mark of 23 years of safe driving. So congratulations and thank you, Anthony. Next is our March Operations Employee of the Month, Joseph Edwards. Joseph was nominated by Transportation Supervisor Rachel Comer, who says, Joseph consistently demonstrates exceptional support for the supervisors whenever we seek his assistance. He willingly offers his help and often volunteers for overtime, showcasing his commitment to the team. He goes above and beyond to guide and assist newer drivers, ensuring they feel confident and well prepared for their roles. His patience and dedication not only fosters a positive work environment, but also serves to instill essential skills in those he mentors. Joseph embodies the qualities we aspire to see in all Indigo employees, making him a valuable asset to our organization. So congratulations, Joseph. Next, we have our March Garage Employee of the Month, Tyrone Stevenson. His nominator says, Tyrone has consistently exceeded expectations and performance standards. He arrives dressed in proper uniform and ready to work each day. This level of preparedness is crucial and highly valued in our department. Tyrone is proactive, recently offering to help run buses when he recognized we had a need to fill for the day. He not only identified the need, but also took the initiative to propose a solution. This demonstrates his willingness to step in and support the team wherever necessary, showcasing his commitment to the success of our operations. So congratulations to Tyrone. I have two other employee highlights. Cherno Balde was invited to speak at the Washington, D.C.'s State of Good Repair Conference, which is organized by the Global Mass Transit. He was there earlier this month. He presented on a topic called Transition to Zero Emission Bus Fleet. His speech was about our experience on the zero emission transition so far, lessons learned, and our way forward. If you don't know, we are one of the first transit companies in the Midwest to operate an electric fleet, particularly zero emission BRT fleet. Other companies, transit agencies, and stakeholders have been very interested over the last number of years in learning from us. So we're happy to have Cherno represent us at that. And then one more employee highlight, Erica Harden. So last month, our lead instructor, Erica Harden, was invited to WeGo Public Transit, which is a transit agency in Nashville, to instruct their training staff on level boarding at the newly opened Dr. Ernest Rip Patton Jr. North Nashville Transit Center. So back in February of last year, WeGo's training team visited us to observe and understand level boarding procedures, working closely with Erica Harden. Their initial visit was very valuable to them, and it led to their coming back in October of last year with additional staff to learn from us even more. Recognizing Erica's expertise and the effectiveness of her instruction, they invited her to Nashville this past February to share her knowledge and help train their own trainers, ensuring a smooth transition to level boarding at their new facility. So congratulations, Erica, on being able to showcase our great work beyond our borders. And then this is not a slide for this, but I would like finally to welcome Tamika Baldwin to the team. Yeah. Tamika is my new executive assistant and your board clerk. So you will see a lot of her, and she comes to us from the city of Indianapolis. So thrilled to have you. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll have committee reports, and without objection, we'll enter into the record the Finance Committee report. That meeting was held on February 20th, 2025. Any objections? Okay, hearing none, that will go into the record. Next is on our regular agenda, and this is item number 4. And under that, we will begin with action item A1, which is consideration and approval of February 2025 board meeting minutes. Are there any questions or comments on those? No. Okay. Can I get a motion and a second for consideration and approval of the February 20th, 25 board meeting minutes?
So, second.
Mr. Chairman, Director Quick, are you on
I am.
line? Okay. Because we do have one board member participating remotely, we'll have to take a roll call
Sure.
vote. So on the present motion, directors, can you please indicate your vote when I call your name? Director Stinson? Director Quick?
Aye.
Director Fagan? Director Wilson?
Aye.
Director Gardner?
Aye.
Chairman Hahn?
Okay,
Motion carries.
thank you. Next is action item A2, and this will be the consideration of the Board of Directors 2025 election of officers, and that'll be presented by Bob Fry.
Directors, so your bylaws indicate that each year you will hold an election for the offices of this board, which are chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. Board members who are elected to one of those offices serve from the date of election through the board's meeting in January 2026. And then we'll hold another election next year. The nominations for the board offices were completed through survey of the board members. The resulting slate is in your board memo and is up on the screen, but I will read it for those maybe listening. So the nominations are for chair, Greg Hahn, for vice chair, Darius Gardner, for treasurer, Rick Wilson, and for secretary, Mary Ann Fagan. So we need for you to take a vote on that approval of that slate. And we don't really need a motion in a second. We just need to take a vote.
Okay, proceed.
Yeah, so directors, indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson, Director Quick,
Aye.
Director Fagan, Director Wilson, Director Gardner,
Aye.
Chairman Hahn.
Aye,
Okay, the slate is elected. Congratulations.
thank you. Okay, next is action item A3, and that'll be consideration and approval of Microsoft Dynamics 365 licensing, and that'll be presented by Marcus Burnside.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcus Burnside, Chief Information Officer for Indigo.
Speaking of Mike, I'm presenting to you today action item A3, consideration and approval of Microsoft Dynamics 365 licensing. It is recommended that the Board of Directors authorize the President and CEO to enter into a purchase agreement with Crow LLP to provide D365 licensing for 1 year in an amount not to exceed $224,544. IPTC has been using D365 for its cloud-based enterprise resource planning platform since May 2022. D365 also integrates with our enterprise asset management system, Dynaway, for a centralized environment. The D365 environment is licensed for production use through April 30th, 2025. This procurement will allow IPTC to license its production environment from May 1st, 2025 to April 30th, 2026. As with all Microsoft Cloud products, D365 licenses are purchased annually, and the cost and quantity may change due to additional license usage or individual license costs. The funding for this project will come from the Information Technology Operating Budget. The action item illustrates the costs from 2022 up to date. To explain, in 2022, we went from on-premise AX environment. We received upgrade licensing for 3 years. And so that's the cost reflective. It was $134,393. And each year we added different modules. So we added a budget module. We integrated with Dynaway. And so each year, 2022, 2023, and 24, the cost went up, but it was based off of that upgrade license costs. We are now paying MSRP costs for the licenses. And so the increase cost for 2025 was a result of the following factors. Microsoft no longer supports the grandfathered, less expensive upgrade license. Microsoft increases the cost of the full finance license. And last, Indigo changed its user quantities. So IPTC will be working to identify opportunities to decrease the increasing D365 licensing costs by reevaluating end user requirements for access to specific modules within D365. Since this procurement is a software licensing renewal, XBE participation is not available. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions? All right.
Okay, just one quick one. Marcus, just talk to me a little bit more about kind of how you go through the process of kind of reconciling who needs to be on what modules, and then so that we're being efficient in that space and not.
So in D365, we license per different module. So if you're in the procurement department, you automatically get a certain type of license, but those licenses have different roles. So the more roles you have, the more that license costs. So you can be an approver, or you can be a submitter of a purchase rec, or you can be someone on the back end of finance that actually have access to all of the information. So including in the budget module, you can include the same people. If you add that role, again, that license cost for that person goes up. And then everyone that is a user in Dynaway, even though that has its own individual licenses, they also have to have licenses in D365. So when you add it all up, you add more users, or you add more roles, those costs go up. And then if you eliminate the upgrade cost, then you get charged MSRP for those said licenses.
So Marcus, just so I'm clear, do we have a process to scrub those? I understand the more roles you have, the more people you have, the higher the prices.
Mhm.
Are we looking to make sure that, so for instance, for 8 months after I retired,
Yeah.
they still had my email and all my stuff, on the record. So do we have a process to make sure that we're not paying for licenses for people that are no longer with the corporation or are no longer in the role for which we're paying the license?
Yes, as soon as the person is no longer with the agency, the account is tied to their, it's like a single sign-on account with Microsoft. And once that's disabled, it disables your access across the board. But we do have a process in place to check those environments to make sure that the license is not still associated with that person. And so once we remove that license, then it becomes available. It does not reduce our cost for that term, but at least because we already paid for the license, but it'll be available for anyone that replaces that person, or if it's just this there, just be available. And when we actually do our renewal the following year, we just don't include that in the cost. So there is a process in place to make sure that everyone has the appropriate roles and they don't have extra elevated privileges and so forth, because that elevated privileges is what's costing a lot of money.
Okay, thank.
Okay.
Marcus, is there any other alternative to Microsoft? I mean,
There are alternatives to its ERP system. And they're all there, and it integrates with our enterprise asset management system. There are a lot of alternatives like you've got PeopleSoft, you have SAP, the larger platforms. However, you'll be looking at, if you were to transition to another platform, you're probably looking at least 18 months. Realistically, it's 24 to 2 years to actually transition to that platform. Because there's a lot of data to scrub through. There's training on a new platform. There's data validation, which takes up most of your time and cost from going from one platform to the other. And so, yeah, there's available platforms, but then you got to consider the costs to be probably at least in the mid 8 figures.
so this is the best opportunity or option for us, correct?
Right. So when we moved from AX on premise and went to D365, it was an easy transition, and it was actually the most economical transition, because if we went to another platform, it would have been much more expensive. So we kept the cost down by going to D365, but it works for us as an agency, works for us as finance. They consulted within themselves, consulted within the market, and found out that's the best solution to go to.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? All right. So I would ask for a motion and a second for consideration and approval of the Microsoft Dynamics 365 licensing contract.
So move.
Second.
All those, we need to do the roll call, yeah.
Yes, directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson. Director Quick.
Aye.
Director Fagan. Director Wilson. Director Gardner.
Aye.
Chairman Hahn. The motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have action item A4, and this is consideration and approval of a contract award for the near miss analysis project. And Christian Cameron will make the presentation. Thank you.
That's right. Hello, I'm Christian Cameron. I'm a project manager in our capital projects department. Let's see, I'm gonna read through most of this, but not all of it. It is recommended that the board of directors authorize the president and chief executive officer to execute a contract with CHA Consulting Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $300,000 for the Indigo SS4A near miss crash video analysis project. Back in 2023, Indigo was awarded a USDOT Safe Streets and Roads for All, or SS4A, planning and demonstration grant to collect and analyze near-miss data, which is a process that examines close calls between bus riders and motorists and other road users. The scope of work for this grant also includes an onboard passenger survey. If awarded via the RFP, CHA will temporarily place cameras at predetermined locations illustrated on the maps on the following pages. The cameras will record road user interactions at intersections and bus stops. The cameras will be placed only for the duration of their use at that location, after which they will be removed. Video processing software will calculate the time that passes between road users sharing the same position in intersecting physical trajectories among other data points. That's your close call. During the same period of time, a subconsultant to CHA will administer onboard surveys to better understand riders' feelings of safety at and around the same locations. Once completed, Indigo will use the findings of this project to make informed decisions about future infrastructure investments, operational improvements, or both. This project is federally funded. The USDOT SS4A grant makes up 80% of the $298,080 total. The remaining 20% is funded locally as part of the fiscal year 2025 operating budget appropriation. The DBE participation goal is 17% for the project. And the contract includes DPA participation from local firm JQOL at 17%. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Mr. Chair. I want to make sure I was clear. What's the duration of the cameras? How long will they be there?
So each camera will be placed for as long as it takes to gather the data. We've got each location set for 24 hours of data collection. So that could be 24 hours straight. It could also be 7 hours today, 6 hours the next day, et cetera. But they will be taken down as soon as they're finished taking data. Does that answer your question?
So 24 hours, yeah.
Is this the first time we've done this?
Yes, this is the first time we've done this. So I think it's an important step for Indigo. The near miss data collection is a growing concern for cities and transportation entities to gather this data with a big push for safety and transportation. So I think it's important we go ahead and try this the first time and see how it goes. And if we find it useful, we might come back again and do it next year.
Now, is this something you would coordinate also with legal, with Mr. Fry's office and?
That's the question, where these cameras will be mounted, and who gave us permission? So,
Okay,
Yeah.
read my mind.
Yes.
Okay,
A question? Am I allowed to ask a question? Christian, is it looking at pedestrian interactions or is it just vehicles?
It's road user interactions in general. So if someone's riding a bike and they almost run into a pedestrian on foot or on wheels, that will be recorded, tabulated. If a motorist is taking a right turn and there's a pedestrian crossing the crosswalk and they almost hit that person, that will be recorded. The actual accidents themselves, if that happens, will also be recorded.
I should also ask if Brian Clem's involved, I assume you are,
Yes. Yes.
as risk manager, okay, and safety. Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, at this time, we'd ask for a motion and second for consideration and approval of contract award for the near miss analysis project.
Second.
Bob?
Directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson?
Aye.
Director Quick?
Aye.
Director Fagan? Director Wilson? Director Gardner?
Aye.
Chairman Hahn?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thanks, Christian. Next up is action item A5, and that's consideration and approval of procurement of transit vehicles for section 5339 grantees. And this will be presented by Ryan Wilhite.
Good afternoon, Manager of Special Projects and Regional Mobility Integration, Ryan Wilhite. I'm here today presenting to you, I want to make sure I get this right, action item A5. So this one is the consideration and approval of procurement of transit vehicles for Section 5339 grantees. So I'll read the recommendation, then I will not read the whole background. It's quite long. Summarize that part and then take questions as needed. So it's recommended that the Board of Directors authorize the President and CEO on behalf of the subrecipients listed herein to enter into an agreement with the Midwest Transit Equipment, or MTE, for the purchase of 3 ADA accessible transit vehicles for a total amount not to exceed $376,839. A little bit of background here. This is the second call for projects that we've done for Section 5339. Section 5339 supports public transportation projects that are throughout the area. And in this case, it's subrecipients of ours, I'll say it. And thus Hamilton, Hancock, Hendricks, and Johnson counties that are eligible for this call for projects. We do a call for projects annually. In this case, we did it at the end of last year. There is a pretty straightforward approach that we have done with this call for projects. We make the amount available, and then they submit a application, Indigo staff review, and then we obviously go through the rest of the process, which includes going in front of the board. One thing that I wanted to highlight this time around, as I do in the past, every time that I've brought these call for projects in front of the board, we made available $600,000 of money, and the federal funding request totaled $326,516. Last time we had 3 subrecipients applied. This time we've had 1. The demand can vary between call for projects. We do have lots of lead time before we put out the call for projects to understand what the level of demand may be. Some of this just depends on a number of different factors, including, of course, the subrecipient's ability to meet the local match requirements that are presented herein. So let's see. There's no fiscal impact for IPTC. We use a quantity purchase agreement through the Indiana Department of Administration to purchase the vehicles. That is the local matches through the subrecipient. In this case, it is Hamilton County. And then the transit vehicle manufacturers are required to actually maintain their own DBE program. And we just report what vehicles that we order as needed, as required. I know that I went through that a little quickly. Going through all of the text on here would take us quite a bit of time. So I'm here to answer any questions that you might have on the Section 5339 memo.
Any questions, comments from the board?
Ryan, just remind, maybe for viewers, how do people find out about this? How do we communicate this opportunity out to folks?
So this call for projects is limited to those subrecipients of ours. So we communicate that via email. We also tell them ahead of time. There's different meetings that we attend where the subrecipients are present or their vendors. And so we just remind them that, hey, sometime soon, we're going to issue this call for projects. And then once we issue the call for projects, we send that out via email, and usually we'll send like a reminder as well. We also conduct a meeting in which interested parties can attend, and we explain the call for projects.
Okay. All right. I'll ask for a motion and second for consideration and approval of procurement of transit vehicles for FTA Section 5310. We have a motion?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I just want to be, this is the 5339 memo. I know we're stacking here, but this is the 5339.
I'm sorry, what?
Nope,
310 is the next one.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you're okay.
Yeah, okay.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, directors, on the present motion concerning the Section 3339 funds, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson, Director Quick,
Aye.
Director Fagan, Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Chairman Hahn,
Aye.
motion carries.
All right. So you have another one, right?
I do.
Okay. Fire away.
Okay, we'll do it. Manager of Special Projects and Regional Mobility Integration, Ryan Wilhite, presenting to you action item A6, similar to action item A5. I'll read the recommendation, then I'll summarize the background and discussion and other parts of this memo, and then I'll be happy to take question and answer. Recommendation, so this is recommended that the Board of Directors authorize the President and CEO on behalf of the subrecipients listed herein to enter into an agreement with the Midwest Transit Equipment, MTE, for the purchase of 5 accessible transit vehicles for a total not to exceed amount of $465,162. So this one, the Section 5310 program is one that we've had for a while. We've done call for projects for a long time. For the most part, for a long time, we've done vehicles. Section 5310 provides support for projects that are enhancing the mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities in the region. So the eligible applicants include not-for-profits and local public bodies. For the most part, applicants to this program and our current subrecipients are not-for-profits that are doing work with individuals with disabilities and seniors. These include BOSMA, Noble, Tangram, et cetera. Similar to 5339, we issued a call for projects for our funds that were available. That amount was $850,000. The total request was 460,404 with 384,452 on there for the federal amount. And so sorry, I apologize because there's 3 in here. We had 4 applicants. 3 of them were asking for vehicles. That was Access Johnson County, Hancock County Senior Services, and Prime Life for a number of vehicles of 5. We had one applicant who actually applied for mobility management. This is the first time that that project's been submitted for this program since I've been here. We've done operating and mobility management 5310 in the past or some program similar to that, but it's the first time through this program. Similar to 5339, it doesn't have a fiscal impact to us, so the subrecipients are responsible for the local match. I will note, similar to 5339, that it was undersubscribed. The reason for that is not known right now. We always have contact with the subrecipients. We think there might be a number of factors that are playing into it. One of our subrecipients who has a pretty large fleet is affected by some of the changes at the state level with how funds are being distributed. And so they didn't apply this time around. There's a lot of uncertainty at the federal level with some funds. And so that may play a factor into it as well. The money that's not been expended here will be rolled over. And so that money will be available in the next call for projects. And that's all I have on that one. So I'm more than happy to take questions on this 5310 memo.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
who is Prime Life?
Yeah, Prime Life,
This-
that's a great question. And you know what? Normally I put that kind of information in here because this question comes up. Prime Life is they're an agency in Hamilton County. They specifically target and support older individuals. I think their threshold is 55 and above. They have a really nice facility. We've been there 3 times and now life of me can't remember what road it's on, but it's just south of the Palladium where they offer services for seniors that live in Hamilton County. They also coordinate with Hamilton County Express or Janus on different trips if they can't provide the trips or if Janus can't provide the trips, Prime Life will provide those trips.
Okay. And you mentioned that somebody else had a non-vehicle request about some kind of maintenance management, or I can't recall.
Yeah, mobility management.
Mobility management. What did we expend funds out of this for that?
We
It's not
haven't
reflected here?
yet. That one doesn't require to go before the board because it's below the threshold. But that's BOSMA, and they had actually been very interested in mobility management training for individuals who come to them who are experiencing vision loss. And a number of other projects that are related to that. They had actually specifically requested years ago that we open our eligible projects up. And we did. They didn't apply last year, but they applied this year. And so we're excited to see that and see how helpful that is to their program. We have stated unequivocally in the call for projects documentation and communication to them that this is not to be considered more than a 1-year commitment for operating or for mobility management. We are really seeking those agencies to use that as seed money, and then we're not promising that there'll be that money available again.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have a question, Chairman.
Go ahead, so.
When was the call for projects, when was that released?
Oh, that's a great question. I have it in here, I believe, just because my memory is not the best. December 16th through February 7th. And we actually released the call for projects at the same time. And we hold meetings at the opening of the call for projects for interested applicants. Actually, it's a requirement.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. At this time, then I'll ask for a motion and second for consideration and approval of procurement of transit vehicles for FTA Section 5310 grantees. 2024 call for projects contract. All those in favor say, well, you got to do we got to do the roll call. Sorry.
We need
And a motion, second.
Moved.
Directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson,
Aye.
Director Quick,
Aye.
Fagan, Director Wilson,
Aye.
Director Gardner,
Aye.
Chairman Hahn.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Ryan. Okay, action item A9 is up next, and that's consideration and approval of the amendment for the fine line printing contract. And that'll be presented by Carrie Black, our Chief Public Affairs Officer.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Hahn and our Board of Directors. I am Carrie Black, the Chief Public Affairs Officer. It is recommended that the Board of Directors authorize the President and Chief Executive Officer to exercise the year one option of our fine line printing contract and amend it to increase the amount from $525 not to exceed $650,000, and that would be effective on April the 1st, 2025. The Public Affairs Department is responsible for printing all kinds of marketing collateral for the agency. That includes route and system maps, rider alert information, promotional pieces, and things that you see that we share with the community to increase ridership and understanding of our system, and other communication tools for internal and external messaging for the entire agency. In 2022, Fine Line Printing was awarded a 3-year contract with 2 one-year options. So the Public Affairs team anticipates the need for printed materials to reflect construction outreach for the Blue Line BRT route, new route maps to reflect routine route changes and schedule adjustments, as well as promotional materials for our 50th anniversary and much more. I think that's it. Any questions?
Any questions? Comments? I just want to personally say I've really been impressed with the publicity and the ads that we're getting and the coverage we're getting, especially with the Blue Line and the announcement of that, but it's overall of the effectiveness of our bus system. I like the one on the bus where it also shows the route, the new route for the Blue Line. There are a lot of creative things that you're doing, and I think makes a huge difference.
Appreciate that.
So we need a motion, a second for consideration and approval of the
So
amendment to the fine line printing contract.
move, Mr. Chair.
Second. Present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson. Aye. Director Quick.
Aye.
Wilson. Director Gardner.
Aye.
Chairman Hahn.
Aye.
That motion carries.
Thank you. Thanks, Carrie. And the final item on the regular agenda is item A10, and this is consideration and approval of free fares on WNBA All-Star Weekend 2025, and that's also presented by Carrie Black, Chief Public Affairs Officer.
Fund one, it is recommended that the Board of Directors approve free rides for the 2025 WNBA All-Star Weekend on July 18th and 19th of 2025. IPTC has supported free fares over the past 4 years for a variety of holidays, election days, sponsored days, and special events. The agency really does place a top priority on removing that barrier of transportation costs and promoting safe travel and alternatives during these very important times in our city. Through this promotion, we can help support and attract new riders to our service. The good news in all of this is that Pacers Sports and Entertainment will underwrite the cost of providing free fare in the amount of $37,000 for the NBA All-Star Weekend, which would be the Saturday and Sunday of that, the Friday and Saturday of that weekend, July 18th through the 19th. And this is the anticipated revenue loss for providing free fares for those 2 days.
Chairman? Hey, Carrie, I note that the PS&E is funding this. Is that passing through the foundation, or are they just paying it directly to you?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It will be passed through the foundation.
Thank you.
Carrie,
Well, I think-
will the schedules remain the same?
Yes, they will. It'll be our regular scheduled service that we run on Fridays and Saturdays. So no extended service like what we did for the NBA All-Star Weekend.
Reason why we're not treating the WNBA
I was gonna
same,
ask
I mean,
that question.
I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm
Great
just-
question. So I think, so I will answer this, but Aaron, if you are in the room and want to add to this, it is my understanding that it was not used very much. So the extended hours that we did during the NBA All-Star Weekend, we just didn't have that much ridership. So we didn't want to, we didn't want to create that type of a situation again if it was not going to be
Got it.
utilized.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to have anything odd during Women's History Month. I know that.
Not at all. We're just trying to be fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars and certainly with Pacer Sports and Entertainment dollars as well.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
I know
That's-
she just responsibility.
It's a win-win. I mean, more people get exposed to our bus system. We all know that there's been an incredible substantial increase in the popularity of women's basketball and professional women's basketball. So, and introducing all those people, I just think it's a fabulous situation.
Yes, couldn't agree more.
Excuse me, if you said this, did the Pacers reimburse for the,
They did. They also covered the free fare during the NBA All-Star Weekend. Is that the question?
that's what I was asking.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Gary, thinking about your comment that, that we didn't have the ridership, when we did this before, how will we make folks aware that there will be free rides on, WNBA All-Star Weekend?
So yes, so to clarify, we had good ridership, very good ridership actually during the regular hours. It was that extended service that we provided in anticipation of, I believe, a late night concert and maybe the game itself that we did not have good ridership during. So ridership for the event itself was, I believe, 20% higher than the same weekend the previous year. But to answer your question, we absolutely will promote this event similar to the way we did for NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll create a special web page that has all of the information that helps out-of-town riders understand how to ride and most importantly, how to pay. We'll do some advertising surrounding it. And of course, we'll share on social media as well. And that seemed to be very effective last year, increasing that ridership during the regular hours.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, then we'll ask for a motion second for consideration and approval of free fares on WNBA All-Star Weekend 2025.
So move.
Directors on the present motion, please indicate your vote when I call your name. Director Stinson, Director Quick,
Aye.
Director Fagan, Director Wilson, Director Gardner,
Aye.
Chairman Hahn. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we have information items, and the first one is information item number 5. And it's actually, first item is I-1, the financial report presented by Bart Brown, our Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon. Bart Brown, CFO. This is the February 2025 financial summary. Under revenue, our federal assistance revenue came in over budget for the month by $251,585. And for year to date, we're over budget $498,287. Our other operating revenue category was over budget by $91,180. And for the year, we're over budget by $15,378. Passenger service revenue was under budget by $67,655 for the month of February. And for the year, for the 2 months this year, we're under budget by $155,935. And the next 3 categories, PMTF grant, property tax revenue, and local income tax all came in on budget for the month and for the year. And finally, service reimbursement program revenue was over budget by $961 for the month and $1,168 for the year. So for total revenue for the month, we are over budget $276,073. And for the year, we're over budget $358,898. Turning to expenditures under personnel services, fringe benefits were under budget for the month by $455,812. And for the year, we are under budget $1,185,377. Overtime expenditures were over budget by $77,945. And for the year, we're over budget by $310,078. That is offset by our salary expenditures being under budget for the month, $333,955. And for the year, we are under budget $1,589,126. And for personnel service category, all in, we are under budget for the month, $711,821. And for the year, we are under budget $2,464,425. Other services and charges, claims are under budget by $129,935 for the month, and for the year, under budget $475,721. Miscellaneous expense category was over budget by $20,671 for the month, and year-to-date, we're under budget $211,865. Purchase transportation category was over budget $140,888 for the month of February, and for the year, it's over budget $140,888. And services expense category was under budget by $20,150 for February, and for the year, we're under budget by $5.9 million. And most of that is contracts we're able to carry that were underspent in 2024 that we carried over and using in 2025. And finally, in this category, utility expenditures were over budget by $78,232. That was caused by, we posted the month of January and February in the same month. And for the year, we're over budget $69,465. Overall, services and charges category was over budget $89,706 for the month. And for the year, we're under budget $6,404,903. And then finally, materials and supplies. Fuel and lubricant categories under budget by $204,553. And year-to-date, we're under budget $318,378. For the month of February, maintenance materials category under budget $34,413. Under budget for the year, $102,623. Other materials and supplies was under budget for February, $78,878. And for the year, we're under budget $157,618. And finally, tires and tubes was under budget by $34,778 last month. And for the year, we're under budget $148,607. And then for February, all total materials and supplies was under budget by $352,617. And for the year, we're under budget $727,227. And then all expenditures came in under budget for the month of February, $974,732. And then year-to-date, we are under budget $9,596,555. And then under non-budget requests, we had one in January for our paratransit fleet inspection, and that was $33,420. And then in February, we extended Eco Lane agreement, and that was $142,742.50. Mr. Chair, that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Darius?
Yeah, Bart, just remind me, were we anticipating that federal assistance revenue coming in over budget?
It typically comes in over budget for the year, and then like the last month or two, it kind of catches up.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't anticipate at the end of the year we'll have much overage. It's just that sometimes they accelerate payments.
I'm always just looking for extra.
Well,
money. I know you are too.
In today's climate, we're happy to get any money from the federal government, and especially when it's over.
That's
Any other questions? Comments? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much, Bart. Next is item I2, and that's the OPPI coverage for the Blue Line project, and that's presented by our Director of Risk and Safety, Mr. Brian Clem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Brian Clem, Director for Risk and Safety. I present and bring to you today OPPI Insurance. In November 2024, IPTC's leadership and the team with Risk and Safety engaged IPTC IPTC's current insurance broker, Aon, to solicit coverage for the upcoming Blue Line BRT construction project. Throughout the following 3 months, Aon proposed solutions to IPTC and have underwritten insurance with Distinguished Programs Insurance Broker LLC for a policy coverage of $10 million. In combination with the required coverage of the A&E firm, which was set at $5 million, IPTC approached our WSP, the architectural and engineering firm for that project, and we asked to reassess their coverage limits, and they went up to $10 million, which brings the total project insurance for OPPI for this project to a $20 million dedicated to just the A&E work. Owners protective professional indemnity, OPPI insurance is required or has been required and used on past projects. To be able to have a policy or present a policy to IPTC, we needed to bind coverage before a notice of work was issued. The policy was recently purchased from Distinguished Insurance Brokers LLC for that Blue Line Rapid project. The policy total amount for the premium is $237,000. Premium costs were covered by the Blue Line Capital Investment Grant from the Federal Transit Administration. And the premium covers a 4-year policy term with 10 years extended reporting period or criteria. OPPI coverage was also purchased for the Red Line and the Purple Line projects. That concludes my information item for you today, and I'd be more than happy to take any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Any questions from the board?
No questions, but I just wanted to thank Brian, and I think it was Aaron and the whole crew that set up an opportunity for me to go through de-escalation training with the staff. That was very informative, and it gave me a lot of great insights for the service committee as to the type of engagements that the staff has to encounter. So I just wanted to shout out Brian while he was up here for helping to set that up.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gardner, and I'm bursting with excitement, but that will be in a future presentation and packet for you next month. And we'll be very excited for the work that Aaron and his team that we're presenting for safety for our entire organization and our patriots and our riders out there. We're excited.
Well, then just consider that a teaser.
Fair enough.
Thank you. Bob, did you have anything you wanted to add on this or? Okay. You've been working on it too, I think. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. That is the end of our agenda today. And I want to thank again everybody for attending. We've got a lot accomplished today. And again, congratulations to all the folks that we honored. That was a tremendous ceremony, and I want to thank all the staff that helped put that together. I know it was a lot of work, and really, really appreciate everybody being here and celebrating with us. And with that, we adjourn.